At the end of this video, I want to give away a Zhiyun Weeble 3E gimbal to one of you guys. So stay to the end of the video and you can see how you can win this gimbal. All right, let's run through these questions. I haven't looked at them yet. So this first question is it's an interesting one. It says, if you don't need to work for money anymore, what would you do? It would definitely be in the filmmaking industry. Filmmaking is just that type of art form that is so unique in the way that it involves the visual aspect, sound, wardrobe and fashion, psychology and storytelling. So yeah, I think that aspect of filmmaking makes it so fulfilling that it involves a community and it involves other art forms to make a good film. If I didn't have to make money in the film industry to be comfortable and live life, I would be totally happy and fulfilled with doing that every day. But outside of that, obviously, I don't think we could just live without money. I don't think anyone would work. I think I would travel the world and just explore and go to different places and experience other cultures. I wouldn't necessarily work if I didn't have to. The next question is, best way to network with directors as a DP looking to grow. Have a great portfolio first. I think first step into networking is having a portfolio going into networking. So having the work that shows what you want to do in this industry and your style and the things that you want to say with your work, and then approaching directors via Instagram, social media, in-person network events. I think the amount of directors that will actually want to take the time and have a conversation with you or open up their schedule to have a coffee. They're looking at your work and they're looking at the things you want to say and if that aligns with the things they want to do and the things they want to say. So to answer your question, I think the best way to network with a director is to have a really solid portfolio that expresses exactly what you want to do and the type of work you want to do, and reach out to those directors that you feel align with the work you want to do. Yeah, that's the best way because they'll be much more open to having that conversation with you. So the next question is, how do you balance directing and DPing? Does one suffer or they complement each other? I had this conversation with a friend about 2024. I was directing a lot of big projects. I directed a spot with Samsung and I was still DPing while I was directing, but DPing kind of took a step back. The balance of directing and DPing is it's a difficult balance. They go hand in hand in the sense of you're learning a lot of skill sets as a director that translates into you being a DP and vice versa. But trying to be both it's possible, it's just not as sustainable. I wouldn't necessarily say one suffers if you're trying to do both, but you can always benefit from focusing your energy and knowing if you're coming into a project and you have this mindset and you're thinking as a DP, that's going to be much more effective than you trying to think as a director and a DP. Directing mindset is a lot more in their imagination and the vision and how they want things, and DPing is a lot more technical and logistical. I think a lot of creatives are different and some people can do both. You know, some people can brain switch and be a director one day on this production, and then the next they're incredible DPs. For me, I feel like I need to focus and almost embody my role on a day-to-day, know what exactly that when I go on a film production, how I can contribute my skill sets and how I should be thinking. Yeah, it's a complex thought and idea. I wouldn't say one suffers, but I would say you can benefit from focusing your abilities and your skill sets on one role. Next question is, what would be an indicator that I'm not cut out to be a filmmaker. I wouldn't say that a lot of people aren't cut out to be a filmmaker. It's not one way to be a filmmaker. That's like saying you're not an artist because a lot of people don't like your art. The way people perceive or validate your art does not mean you're not an artist. And that's the same way you should think about filmmaking. Filmmaking is an art form, so however you feel about yourself, you feel like you're not cut out to be a filmmaker, then that's true. It's the other way around as well. Is if you feel like you're a filmmaker, then you are, and that's the truth. Understanding that there's no one way to be a filmmaker or how to be a filmmaker. It's no rules. It's an art form. You know, as a working filmmaker or commercial cinematographer, director, or whatever it is, it's a certain level of skill that you need to have to be labeled as a professional. But anything outside of that, it's art. You don't have to be labeled as a professional to feel like you're a filmmaker. I mean, another indicator would be if you're just not enjoying what you're doing. It's pretty simple, and I think a lot of people overthink it. If you don't appreciate making a film and the process of shooting and directing and being around other filmmakers, that's a one really big indicator that maybe you just don't like filmmaking. If you feel like that, I would definitely start to transition and pursue other things as soon as possible, because quicker you pivot, you can get on to the next thing and be on your way. So, all right, the next question is, what were the stages of your professional journey to get where you are today? So I started out filmmaking with a small Canon Rebel. I started in photography and I just started taking photos, and I was just always interested into the visual aspect of things and creating content. And then I moved up to a Sony a7S II, and the Sony a7S II was my introduction to cameras, as you know, the closest thing to a cinema camera that I could get and afford. And I was shooting a lot of music videos. I had a lot of friends that were in the music industry, and they made decent music, decent enough for me to shoot their music videos for like $200, $100, or even free sometimes. Yeah, I was just hitting the ground running with my a7S II and shooting music video after music video. Ultimately got really exhausted and tired of shooting music videos, and I started reaching out to small businesses, sandwich shops, and a lot of just smaller food businesses that were local to me. Started shooting commercials for them while I was shooting music videos, and I had a mentor that really took me under his wing and brought me on productions that were a little higher than the productions I was doing and starting out. I started getting my footing and I started networking his network, and he showed me a lot of stuff. And I think early on what was really key was the work that I initially put in shooting those music videos and commercials and building a portfolio that was decent. It wasn't as good as I am now, of course, but that was enough to get the attention of my mentor. Once I got the attention of my mentor and he took me under his wing, that was one of the biggest stepping stones for my professional career, because he ended up introducing me to his network and bringing me on as a PA, and I kind of worked my way up from a PA, and I end up being a shooter, and then, you know, I end up acquiring the client sometimes when he said, oh, I can't do this job, could you go out and shoot? And, you know, so on and so on. And I started getting my footing in the industry that way. And I think a lot of it started to grow exponentially is when I had a mentor. Once I got my footing and I felt like I was in a bit of a groove with client work and bringing in a decent amount of money, I started to really focus on personal work. When I was done with the client projects, I would go do personal work. That ultimately got a lot more attention, and a lot more businesses started reaching out because they liked the work that I was doing personally. And that felt great as an artist, because people were appreciating and seeing my work for what I wanted to do. Once I realized that people were out there and ready to pay me to do projects that I wanted to do, I doubled down and I started filling up and promoting a lot more stuff that I wanted to do and I wanted to get paid for. So I was doing that for a while. I was making a lot of projects that I loved doing, and also I was working on jobs that were just there to pay the bills, and it was a lot of those jobs, and they were getting the bills paid for sure, but they weren't as creatively fulfilling. Next question is, what's an underrated piece of equipment that is a necessity? I love those micro V mount and gold mount batteries that you can stick on the cameras, the 150s and above. But the high quality ones with the power meter on it that shows you how much power you have left. Those things are just like really underrated, and we don't think about them as much. It's like I hate having terrible batteries, especially the ones who are just big and bulky. They're a little older, and yeah, I don't know. Batteries are like really important. I don't know. Batteries are very underrated when it comes to gear, because batteries are just like the least sexy thing on a rig. You know, we're not really thinking about the batteries, but especially love those micro Anton Bauer core power batteries. Those are great as well. It's just like those well-designed batteries, they add so much to a rig. That was a few of the questions that I received on my Instagram, and if you guys don't follow me there, go ahead and follow me. I'm gonna do these Q&A videos pretty often. All right, so to win this gimbal, all you have to do is go to the comments, drop a comment, and include your Instagram handle in that comment. You also have to be following me to be a part of the selection of winners. So yeah, I want to give this away to an inspired creative who maybe just never had the chance, or I don't know, the opportunity to get one of these gimbals. Good luck. Hopefully you guys can win this gimbal. I love giving things away that I'm not personally using. Yeah, so shout out to you guys. Thank you for watching this video, and carry on.